Right, hello everybody. Welcome to the session, actually not only about the TYPO3 CMS team, but what is the name of that session? It's teams of the TYPO3 project, I guess, and I have one other co-speaker or two other co-speakers, that is Christopher Lubeck and Renz Admiral, and they will tell something about TYPO3 Surf and TYPO3 Flow and TYPO3 Neos later on. So I'm just starting to show you the TYPO3 CMS core team. So this is the development team. So we are going to present you the development teams that are active in the TYPO3 project. Yeah, so the initial idea was to have about 20 minutes to talk about that. So that's what I created the slides for. So in the end, we might have some more time. So that is the possibility, of course, for you to ask questions or at any time. If something gets unclear or you want to know something more or want to add something to the things that we present here, then just go ahead and speak up and tell your concerns or questions. Yeah, so the task of the TYPO3 CMS core team that is actually developing the TYPO3 core or is caring about the TYPO3 core is to be a pillar in the community. So to be one cornerstone in the community that can be approached, where you can ask questions, where you can have some nice sessions concerning creating code and spreading the word, create ideas and stuff like that. So we as the development teams consider ourselves as being these pillars in the community. So the strong ones that are going to help you. Of course, another task is to create the packages and to publish new releases. So for the TYPO3 CMS branch, that means that we currently have a lot of versions that we maintain. That is the TYPO3 4.5 branch, that's the 6.0, the 6.1, and currently in development phase, the 6.2 branch. So we have 4 versions in total that we currently maintain, and of course that's one of the one of our tasks to frequently create these packages and these releases that you can work with TYPO3, and that also the bug fixes and security fixes get resolved and published very soon. Another task is to review patches both before and after commit. So it's not only the core team that is creating patches and that is writing patches, it's actually the TYPO3 community. So everybody can create these patches and help to make TYPO3 better in a particular way. That might be just a language patch if you see that there's a typewriting error, or it also might be if the page tree is broken or does not work on Chrome browsers anymore, then of course anybody of you or anybody in the community can hand in patches, and the CMS team or the core team in general will help you to review these patches and to make something good out of your work, out of your ideas and thoughts. And of course it's important to keep the discussion level high. So we have a lot of ideas and a lot of things that are not good or could be better, and of course we need to talk about that. So discussion happens in those teams in mailing lists, or we have a forum software for that that actually is a connector to the mailing list, but makes it easier nowadays to not have to install an NNTP news reader and get your news feed via email and stuff like that. So that was used in the old days. Nowadays you can use a forum for that. And of course that's one of the important tasks, to keep track of the discussions that happen there and also be at the events. So like the TYPO3 conference or one of our, you can say that, or you can consider that for developers in the TYPO3 project, the TYPO3 developer days is like a Christmas event. Yeah, so all developers come together, talk about nice ideas and concepts, have a nice time, and of course there also is that factor called party, and that makes it a real great event for developers, and that's our Christmas in the TYPO3 world. And of course it's important to ensure its own continuity by educating and inspiring others. So that means if you go back some years, the history of TYPO3, for example, to 2006, There we had Casper being active in the development teams. We had others like Karsten and Robert, for example, that were very active in the TYPO3 CMS development, and they are now taking care of the Flow project and the NEARS project and other projects that have popped up around these scenarios. And of course, we need to ensure that we continue, that we have young people or other interested parties getting into the TYPO3 project actually, and are willing to spend their time on creating a great software. So, of course, that is also an important task that we can achieve by motivation, by discussing, and all together, and being available, and being that pillar that I mentioned earlier. We have several roles in the TYPO3 CMS team. I think you have a similar approach in the NEARS and Flow world. So maybe there are some differences. So you can tell them later on, or just say, well, we have a different in NEARS. So I think we can do that together. So we have one important role, that is the active contributor, or in general, we have contributors. So a contributor just has an idea and goes to the bug tracker and says, okay, well, there is a bug and it needs to be this and that way. So actually, this is a contributor. Then a contributor could continue with writing a patch and opening the, whatever, development tool, PHP, Storm, Eclipse, whatever, or just a simple text editor, and grab that piece of code and try to fix the CSS styles or the PHP development files or whatever, creates a diff file out of that and gives it back to the TYPO3 community by handing in that patch. So that is also kind of a contribution. And as it is quite normal that that nobody has unlimited time, so we have active contributors and not so active contributors. So that depends on your personal needs, on your personal availability concerning time, and also it depends on your motivation, how much you want to give into the TYPO3 project. So we have the term active contributor, and the term active describes it very well. What this is all about, it's about activity. So if you have proven to be active, or that you care about the product, the TYPO3 CMS product, for a longer time, then you easily can be an active contributor and have the permission to merge patches and to actually use the patches that have been handed in by any contributor and use that into the upstream source repository, and in the end will be released in the next version of TYPO3 6.2.0 or 4.5. Whatever. So these are the active contributors. So you can easily be an active contributor, and you can, of course, also easily lose that status of being active just by not being active anymore. So the active contributors just knows the product very well. Then we have a quality assurance manager who fosters the product, and currently this is a paid position inside our team for 1 day per week. It's taken by Christian Kuhn from Hamburg, working for Enid Consulting, and he is actually taking care about the quality of the product by analyzing the bug fixes and watching what happened. I just realized that I have all the details to these positions later on in another slide. Okay, then we have the budget manager, that is Ernesto Baschny. Is he here? No, not. So he has birthday today. So if you have the chance to meet him today, then say your congratulations. And he's also currently the release manager of 6.2. The release manager plans the releases and also the issues or the features that are going to be part of the next version of TYPO3. So it's like, or we have different phases in development. So we start with the development by using a kickoff meeting, and then we discuss, oh well, we could do this and that feature, and then we discuss about that and say, okay, that all sounds nice, but actually, who is going to do that work? Are you willing to spend some time on that? And then, well, maybe that's going to be different or difficult. And this way, we have some priorities on these tasks if they can really be done in a certain amount of time. And then if it comes closer to a time called the feature freeze, which is actually the time where we don't allow any new features, then the whole development community gets a bit freaky because his or her feature needs to be actually part of that release. And then it's like using the night shifts and working all day and night to actually get some feature ready and get that into the core. And the job of the release manager also is to say, no, that's not ready. So this is not going to be part of the next version of TYPO3. So it's sometimes a nice job, but it's not always an easy job because you need to keep track of all the things that happen around the code. Then we have positions like the leader and the co-leaders. Actually, these people plan the product. And then we have the release team, which is also some kind of backup for all of these positions. And we used to have weekly meetings inside the release team and discuss the recent happenings and also the next steps that we are going to do inside our development phase. And then we have the friendly ghost. I think currently it's not really active, friendly ghost. The reason for that is that we were really busy with the last steps of the 6.2 release, and we had a lot of code sprints. So, for example, in August we had about 3 code sprints. In October we had 2 code sprints. So we were meeting the whole time, and so everybody was somehow friendly ghost by going through the issue tracker and giving feedback on the patches that have been handed in and on the issues. Okay, the release team, here are some pictures. We have Xavier Perséguer. He's of the French-speaking district of Switzerland. He was release manager for TYPO3 CMS 4.6. Then we have Steffen Ritter, also release manager for 4.7. Then we have Helmut Hummel, which the version 6.0 was his TYPO3 release, was his version. And also the namespaces switch and all the things that happened around that version that was released exactly 1 year ago. Then we have Benny Mack, release manager of 6.1, and Ernesto Baschny, our birthday candidate for today, and also release manager of 6.2, and also release manager of 4.5. So Ernesto is just taking care about the long-term support versions. And we have weekly online meetings, of course, as I mentioned, just to keep track of what happens and what steps need to be taken. And we don't only discuss the technical stuff, but we also discuss about things like happenings inside the community or some kind of flavors. So if somebody announces that Temple of Allah won't be developed any further, and then the reaction inside the community, of course, we talk about these things as well, and how we can grab that topic and lead it to something good. The quality assurance manager, Christian Kuhn, here's a picture of him, is actually doing post reviews and backports. So we have different kind of patches that is always created for the last version of TYPO3. And Christian ensures that this change is backported from 6.2 to 6.1 to 6.0 and actually, or finally, to 4.5. So this is a huge work, and by an increasing amount of patches, of course, some of these backports might be forgotten, or in some cases, it's not required to do a backport at all because that feature was not available in 4.5. And Christian is just taking care about what needs to be done and whether something is missing. And he's also taking care about the unit tests. So it does not have, if we fix something and then in the next version another bug appeared and was fixed in another way, and that thing that was actually thought as a bug fix was breaking an old fix. So you fix a bug and create a new one. So that's not ideal, and therefore we use unit tests. Of course, that's a nice thing, and Christian is just taking care that these bug fixes are handed in together with an accordant bug unit test, so that we can ensure that this functionality is still working and is still given, even if somebody else is changing that in the future. Yeah, and in general, he's doing some kind of patch coordination. So if somebody wants to know, well, I have some spare time, and I want to review patches, so what do you consider as important currently? Then Christian is doing that and is telling the developers that can spend 1 or 2 hours on reviewing patches and point them directly to an accordant problem or an idea to have some feedback on that. Okay, leadership. So Oliver Harder, that looks like me, actually. So I'm the leader of the TYPO3 CMS team. Then we have Benny Mack as a co-leader and Michael Stucki as a co-leader. So Michael Stucki is here at the TYPO3 conference as well. So this is, of course, valid for any people or any position in the TYPO3 teams. If you have questions outside these sessions, then just come to us and ask questions. And yeah, even if it's about development and how to do this and that feature, yeah, let's talk. So we are here and let's use the time just to show you the faces. Okay, then the term about the active contributors. So active is important, as I mentioned. So currently we have about 36 active contributors. In November, there will be 28, so we will lose 10 active contributors, and we will have 2 new active contributors. So it is important that the term of activity is checked regularly. So it does not help, or we had that problem in the past that we had a core team that was growing and growing, and as it is quite neutral, people lose interest maybe, or people switch to another job position and don't have time anymore, or just motivation is gone, or don't have any ideas, or get kids, or married, or whatever. So it's quite it's a normal way of life that things change, yeah, over the years, and we need to keep track to have a really active team, so the active contributors team, and it's also required that some people are removed from that team and that we invite new people. Of course, we talk to these people and ask, hey, you seem not to be that active anymore, so what happened? Do you imagine that this is going to be better in the future, or is it just that you don't have time anymore? And therefore, we do these cleanup sessions, and in November, we are going to lose 10 people and have 2 new people. And yeah, if you look to that grid, then it's quite easy to understand why we have to remove 10 people and add 2 new people, because then in the end we have 28 that can be divided by 4, so we have that 4 rows. Otherwise, it would look very ugly on that screen, and one place is actually missing. So that's very important. Okay, we have the active contributor meetings twice a year. So this year there was an active contributor meeting in Nuremberg. We were talking about the main topic, of course, was the 6.2 kickoff that we did during a weekend in Nuremberg. And then we also discussed this new concept of having active contributors and throwing away the old concept of having a growing core team and using this active contributor term in the future and be more flexible towards the things and the demands that we have to solve in the TYPO3 CMS team. And we also were discussing about several fields of responsibilities. So for example, we have a XJS page tree, we have workspaces, we have grid backend layouts. So we have several techniques inside the TYPO3 core, and it's also easy to understand that not everybody can know about all of these details and about all of these implementations. And therefore, we have somehow a field of responsibility that is taken by at least 1 or more people. Of course, more people would be better. But in some areas, we just have 1 that is responsible for that area. So for example, the rich text editor, the RTE HTML area is maintained by Stan Rolland. So this is one example for a field of responsibility. Yeah, and then we had the second meeting prior to the TYPO3 Developer Day, so our Christmas meeting. And yeah, we spent 1 week in Hamburg doing the active contributor stuff, and then having a nice time during the TYPO3 Developer Days. The friendly ghost is a position that is shared and rotating amongst all members of the active contributors. Every new week we have a new friendly ghost, or a new person is taking care of the friendly ghost. And the tasks are to handle new issues and to actually support contributors to be successful with the ideas and the contributions that are handed in for the TYPO3 CMS core. And also it's important to clean up the long list of issues and feature requests and bugs from time to time. So this is also a task of the friendly ghost to actually clean up and triage the bug lists. Okay, the activity in 2013, we had the release of the 6.2 version in April. We had the release, or we are going to have the release of 6.2 LTS in December. So this is the next step in our LTS release cycle for 3 years. So we had the release of 4.5 in January 2011, and now we're going to have the next LTS release, and both releases, both long-term support versions, are overlapping for 1 year. So this allows agencies the possibility to upgrade from one long-term supported version to the next one. So the date where we want to have that finished, or this will be released, is December. It's the 10th of December 2013. We had these 2 active contributor meetings. In total, we had 12 sprint meetings this year, and there are still 1 sprint that is focused on marketing and focused on communication and on strategy. And so that's a non-technical sprint that we are going to have this year. Berit, actually, the marketing team is organizing that sprint. Yeah, so thanks to the marketing team for taking care of that. It's also important to take care about communication and how we interact together as a team, and also to help to build up a strategy for the future. So this will happen in November. So in total, we had these 8 code sprints. 3 X-based code sprints were part of that. I'm just mentioning that because next year, or budget-wise, the X-based team is going to be part of the TYPO3 CMS budget. So we are one team, and also the team leaders and contributors of the X-based team are now part of the TYPO3 CMS team as active contributors. And we had 1 user experience and user interface meeting in Frankfurt by a hand of people. Okay, and here are just some pictures, some impressions, a nice welcome to the TYPO3 X-based code sprint. So it's always nice to be invited by agencies, and the agencies say, okay, we can host that sprint. Just say what you need. We can take care about food and drinks and stuff like that. You can use our infrastructure and you're welcome. And then all the people, the developers, gather together and working on particular topics for 3 or 4 days. Basically, that is over the weekend. And it just feels nice to be welcome and to be supported in that way. Okay, the topics for 2014 is, of course, the maintenance of TYPO3 CMS 6.2, our long-term support version that will be supported until 2016. So this will continue, of course. The development of TYPO3 CMS. So it's, of course, we could continue with 6.3 or we could continue with 7.0. That is something that is not really decided on. So we have ideas and concepts for both of these worlds or both strategies, but we will talk about that or discuss that and also find a conclusion on that and make a decision on that in November, actually after the strategy sprint. And yeah, of course, our focus currently is the 6.2 LTS release, so that is more important than doing the fancy stuff. But of course, we are going to continue in the future And since we have the 6.2 LTS release, we also agreed or already agreed on continuing in the future. Yeah, the tasks are to improve the user interface and the user experience. So this is one important topic. Jens Hoffmann is going to give a talk during the TYPO3 conference here. I think it's tomorrow. It's called the User Experience of TYPO3 7.0. And he has been working on concepts, and we will see how we can integrate these concepts into the TYPO3 CMS. And he also planned to have a new user experience week. The last one happened in 2008 and actually was included in TYPO3 4.4 and 4.5. So it took 2 versions to integrate the results of the user experience week into the next version. So that is something that is in our heads and that is being planned for 2014. And of course, the topic about transition and scalability and performance are important topics. So we are often told that TYPO3 gets slower for each version. It's sad, but that is true, that we lose somehow performance over the releases. So if you directly compare 4.5 to a 6.2 release, currently it's like that it is slower. Yeah, and that's a thing that, of course, we need to address and we want to address, and to keep performance high, as you have been used to work with TYPO3 at 4.5 days, and you work in the backend, and that is fine, that you don't spend too much time on actually waiting. So these are also important topics that we need to take care about in 2014. Yeah, roadmap. So this is the graph about the TYPO3 versions that has been created some months ago. So currently we are here with the TYPO3 6.2 LTS release, and then we didn't point out the specific version number. So we did not say that then the 6.3 release will follow or a 7.0 release will follow, since we also knew that we need to discuss that topic at the time when we have 6.2 released. So actually we planned the future already, so when we might have these releases. For the scenario of not continuing with the 6.3 release, but with a 7.0 release, that means that we might need some more time to get the 7.0 finished. So we are not using the 6-month release cycle as we did during the last years, but we actually skip one release cycle and use 12 months for developing on TYPO3 7.0. So this might be the case. Yeah, participation. It's like the TYPO3 core team develops TYPO3 CMS. You as a core developer or active contributor must do this and that. So actually this is wrong. So it's not the TYPO3 core team or the active contributors that are the only ones that develop TYPO3. It's more like the TYPO3 community develops the TYPO3 CMS. So everybody here in this room has the possibility and the chance to hand in patches and to share ideas concerning the next version of TYPO3. So this is possible, of course. And that also means that every aspect of motivation is welcome if it's to improve the product. Yeah? So this is very important, that it is not only the core team, it is the community, so everybody can be part of that. So that even sounds a bit better. Quality assurance is important as well, and yeah, of course we use automated unit tests for that, and we have Christian Kuhn as our quality assurance manager, and we were thinking about having a gatekeeper but did not establish that position yet, just to keep track about the features and the things that are integrated into the upstream version. So I think for Flow this has been similar in a way, where Robert said, okay, I want to keep track about every change and want to ensure that the architecture stays clean. And I don't know whether it's still the case currently. Partly, yeah. Okay. Okay, this is again just a slide on the active contributors thing. So we had some people that were standing around, hanging around, having several ideas, and then it's also quite natural that we have several people that form together in a group, and we have some other people that are not that interested, but a bit interested and want to know what is going on and want to give feedback and stuff like that. But we have these kind of groups, so the inner group and the not so inner group, outer group, whatever. So this is the regular way of life. If you look to the conference and you see groups forming, then this is quite the normal way. And if you have these kind of groups, then it might happen that you hand out crowns and create kings and big bosses. And then, yeah, you also need release managers if we talk about software, and you get another crown put on your head. And you have these little crowns as well because you're part of the core team or part of a very important team. That's the self-perspective, maybe. And then it happens that these people are grayed out, they become inactive, they disappear in a way, but still have that crown on their head. And the question was with the active contributors how to actually remove this crown. So how can we get rid of the activity of our team? I'm just doing that a bit quicker because I already explained so much about that. So the goal was how to get these inactive people out of the inner circle. Yeah, and then we had these people that did not want to go. They said, well, I'm still important because I once did a cool patch in 2003 and I still want to be famous and want to be the king in a way. So I don't mean Casper with that. It's about normal people, regular contributors that once were really active, but then did not be active anymore, but still thought they were very important for the TYPO3 project, but did not contribute anymore. Okay, and then we had some other peoples that were saying ugly words because they did not understand why this and that person is still part of that team, just if that one thought to be important for the team. And that's where the active contributors concept was introduced, just to have the possibility to take away that crown and to use the normal way of life, that interest changes. Okay. Yeah, how to become an active contributor? Yeah, it's actually based on activity. So as I mentioned already, if you're active and want to be part of that, then of course you can be easily become an active contributor on that. And it is based on trust, of course. So that means if members or contributors that are inside that team for a longer time, then it might happen then, well, that newbie, maybe we should take a closer look to that patch. That does not help if we don't trust each other. And every new active contributor is welcome in our team, and he is actually helping to make the product better. And that's the thing that counts, and not whether the knowledge is not good or if a patch misses some parts. So it's our job as active contributors to be helpful and thankful for any contribution, and also to support others to be successful to actually get a better TYPO3. Yeah, how to get in contact with somebody of the team. So yeah, just use the chance, possibly right now. So a lot of contributors, active contributors are here. Just ask questions. That's of course possible at any time. You can use the mailing lists to get feedback. So if you have an idea, then it's good to write down that idea or create a draft of that, draw it on a paper, scan it, create a PDF, and yeah, hand it in the wiki and ask for feedback and for comments. Having a concrete idea makes it easier to actually discuss things instead of just saying, I want to have this and that feature and you need to do that. So nobody actually would respond to that request. But if you have a concrete idea or a particular idea, then just create that, write it down, and let's discuss about that. Or you also have the possibility to ask directly. So if you don't want to talk to me, for example, right now, then you can just write a mail later on to oliver@typo3.org. And I'm happy to respond to your questions. We are using several tools. We are using Redmine to keep track of our issues. That means the features and the bugs. We are using Git and Garrett for changes to the TYPO3 CMS core. So Git is our versioning control system, and Garrett on top of the Git version control system to have a chance to review these changes and also to give feedback to a particular patch. Blueprints, that is the concept that I just mentioned. With you have an idea, write it down. So this is a blueprint. A blueprint needs to follow several aspects, like what is my problem? So you need to describe that problem, and you also need to describe the solution or the steps that need to be taken to actually solve the problem. This shall help to not thinking or not going too much into the details of other surroundings, but to stay focused on actually solving the problem. And also for others that were not involved in creating that blueprint or that idea, to read up, okay, it's about this and that, right, okay, cool. So I don't have to ask silly questions, but now I know what's going on and what the concept, the plan for a particular change is. Yeah, here we have some screenshots. So this is the list of issues in the Garrett review system. There you have some kind of numbers. So you have +1 and -1. That means green also always means good, so seems to be accepted, and red means not good. So others are telling the initial contributor whether a change is good or not good. That happens by actually reviewing a change, so reading the code and saying, okay, that makes sense, I can understand that, that's fine, I give you +1. And then it is also required to give a +1 on testing the patch. So it does not help if you just test it or read the patch and then it breaks everything because it looks good in PHP, but in the end, it is just a mess that is introduced into the core, and therefore it's required to have it tested as well to verify that this test actually solves the problem. Then we have Travis CI. Travis is using a GitHub clone of our Git repository. So every time somebody commits something to the TYPO3 source repository, so every time a change is made, then automatically Travis CI is triggered and is doing a lot of unit tests. Currently, we have around 6,030 unit tests that are triggered automatically and test whether this particular change that just was introduced breaks the whole system or not. Of course, it would be better to have that before it gets merged to the upstream repository, but in that regard, we still working on a solution to have that integrated into our own Jenkins CI server, but we have that fallback level on Travis CI. Yeah, it looks like that. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you. Some people already left. That's not good. Well, okay. Yeah, Christoph, do you want to continue or?
Yeah, sure. I think it won't take so long. So is that on already?
The question? You talk about blueprints?
About blueprints, yeah.
Yeah. Where can we find them?
You go to the, that's indeed a good question. I should have pointed out the links. Yes, they are in the wiki. So wiki.typo3.org/blueprints. There you will find it. But that's a good annotation. I forgot to put the links into the slides. Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know, is the microphone working? Okay. Yeah, my name is Christopher Lubeck. So who of you has heard about or knows what surf is? So some have no idea or did not listen. So Surf is an automated deployment solution that can be used for any kind of application, basically, but it's very easy to use for Flow and Neos projects, but also for TYPO3 CMS deployment to one or multiple servers and to have a robust and working deployment process. And there's a talk tomorrow from Renz Admiral about Surf, so if you want to know more about that. So Surf was initially created during a project as a side task because we needed some new deployment solution for TYPO3 Flow. Because with TYPO3 Flow it just wasn't possible to replace the files on a live server just with an update, because we had to be sure caches are properly rebuilt and everything. So we have this time where the whole application is blocked. And we created Surf to have a solution where you can have a deployment without a notable timeout. So it's a zero downtime deployment. And of course, there are tools out there, but we wanted to build something on PHP with the tools we know to have a good base for future extension. Yeah, and it really worked out well, and it's used by quite some people now and agencies and in a lot of projects. And we get a lot of contributions. And so the idea was let's have a product out of Surf because it's really one part of the whole ecosystem, to have that as a foundation for the products, because the deployment really matters in a lot of projects, to have that solid and working. So we are on the road to a first official release. There's a lot of information lacking, including proper documentation how to get started, including a website, including a team structure. So I'm the one who's mostly responsible for it, but I'm not doing all the code. It's since the beginning we have contributions from all people that use Surf, and I talk to a lot of people, and I think we have a good base for first release. There are some things planned feature-wise, but it's mostly about communication, documentation, and hanging a 1010 tag on the product. So yeah, that are the future plans, and I cannot tell more right now because it's nothing more official right now. But so I think at the marketing sprint there will be some more official strategic planning and how we proceed with the website and things like that. So if you're interested in Surf and deployment, just contact me or Renz or Karsten or Tobias Liebeck. They are all pretty active. And just have a look at the Gerrit review system. You saw that in the talk from Ollie. We use the same tools like Flow and TYPO3 CMS development, the Forge issue tracker, and the review queue. So if you're familiar with that, you can also join the Surf development. Yeah, so any questions right now, or? Yeah, okay, so I'll hand over to Renz.
Yeah. Well, I would like to say something about the Flow and the Neos team, and I would like to actually use the same presentation as Oliver used and quickly use it as a structure, as a guide. Thanks, Christopher. Good luck with your next talk. Well, I would like to tell something about the structure, and it is a little bit unprepared, so let's see what happens. Luckily, the CMS team already did a lot of thinking about how to restructure the team. And as we are still two teams, but in the same community, it makes sense to have a similar structure and not doing something completely different. So we actually have a lot of the roles which are also here, but we fill it a little bit differently, I think, mostly. We also have the active contributor, which is a member of the team. Luckily, since the last code sprint, we have about 5 more suddenly, which is pretty cool. I think the group is now 16 to 20 people actually contributing to Flow and Neos. The quality assurance manager is if you would have to say one person, it would be Karsten, who really keeps a close eye to all the quality and if the unit tests are all running, functional testing. And but we also have a term which we don't really have a name for yet, which I think it would be Quality Assurance Guardian. Yeah, Quality Guardian. But it actually just means that those are the people in the team who know the concepts you would like to implement. They can keep track of, okay, this change is completely out of line with what we want to do. And they can help other people to say, like, okay, I would like to contribute to Flow, who should I go to? I would like to do something to Fluid, who could tell me how it works? Or I found this nice bug in the property mapper, and who knows something about it? So it's more keeping track of the overall quality. Well, of course, we also have a budget manager, that will be Karsten. The release manager for Flow currently, for the current version, is Karsten also, I think. I think it's a lot of Karsten in this regard. Yeah, for the NEOS release, which is basically just in the same team, for the 1.0, Sebastian will be the release manager. And for every release, we check, okay, we will do it now, or regarding the subject, if it fits a person to do the release. So that's actually rotating in the team. Of course, we have a team leader and co-leaders, which will be Robert and Karsten. And Robert indeed keeps track of everything which is added feature-wise. The release team itself would be the release managers, and furthermore, the full team, actually. I don't think we really have one person doing that. It's the full team going for the job. And we should have a friendly ghost. That's introduced a few times, and I think somebody was it for a few months. Yeah. Yeah, Christian is the community entry point of the team. Yeah, and he takes care of all the community stuff, and he is a lot around in the IC channels, but he's not officially the friendly ghost. Okay. Do we have some next slides? Yeah, I think I went there. Yeah, about the activity might be nice. We tend to not release as much as the CMS team, I think. In 2013, we had the Flow 2 release, which is actually out, right? Yeah, 2. Yeah, 2 is out. And we had a lot of alpha releases for NEOS, which is now on Alpha 6 and soon to be Alpha 7 expected. And we had about 5 to 10 code sprints, I think, bigger or smaller code sprints where people just group up and work on a topic. The latest one was in last month, which was sponsored by DS6 in Frankfurt. Yeah, right? Yeah. Which was pretty cool, and we had about 20 or 30 people attending, I think. Which was a pretty big group. And we meet normally about once in every 2 weeks for a technical discussion meeting. We publish those on the wiki page. You can also, just put your name there and join the meeting if you would like. I think it's pretty much open if you have a topic to discuss. And we meet every day in IRC, which is basically our virtual office. So we have daily meetings, daily discussions, and if we have some topic to talk about or if you have questions, most of the team will be available for questions also. Seeing the UI, I forgot actually that we also have a UI guy, which is Rasmus, which is doing a lot of work in the user experience of NEOS. Also across community, actually, with other products like Drupal and stuff. Pretty much appreciated what he does there. Okay. And 2013. Oh. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, I expect a release of NEOS somewhere. We don't have a fixed date for that, so I'm not going to give you a fixed date because we are not going to make any false promise there. But we expect a release to be there, and we are currently working pretty hard on a 1.0. After that, the topics for NEOS will be localization and fine-grained access management, which will be the 1.1 release, which will follow pretty fast on the 1.0, I imagine. And for flow, if I recall correctly, a topic would be multiple persistence support, for example. And that's work which we will work on in 2014. Yeah. And what else did you have there? Participation is also a nice one. I think we are a really open team. We welcome all contributions. I can imagine it's sometimes a little bit hard to keep on track. So if you would like to contribute, or if you have questions, you can just say like, okay, I would like to contribute. And normally we assign a mentor to you. So you have one person to go to, and you can, of course, always ask the full team, and it's better to have the full communication. But if you don't get the response you would like, you can go to your mentor and say like, okay, help me out and get me started.
So how many mentors do you have currently, or for which, do you have fields of responsibility, or how is that handled?
Well, we have people who work mostly on a part of Flow or Niels. And people who will really work in a certain area mostly get somebody assigned who would like to contribute in that regard. But it's all pretty moving around also. Like it could be that somebody introduced a feature which is completely rewritten by somebody else, and then, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think the I don't
think that you have these problems.
No, we don't have crowns. Yeah, for the tooling, we still have Redmine. That one is expected to be changed. But yeah, we will inform you about changes there. And we use Git and Gerrit. Of course, we also use, blueprints somehow, but it's more like somebody has an idea to work on, he creates an issue on Forge, puts his thoughts in there, and that's open for discussion. And there's furthermore a lot of talking, and then somebody makes some drafts and publish them on Forge now. And of course, we have the mailing list and the forum, and we have the TYPO3 Flow and TYPO3 Niels channel on Freenode for ISC. And if you have questions there, just come there, and we are there on a daily basis. I think that's about it, what I could say about the team now. Anything you would like me to say? Or any questions?
It's a personal question from my side. So how does that work with the IRC channel, so as an official team channel? So you don't have a closed channel or something like that? So
No.
That's actually good. So what about the noise? So is it like, it's a support chat or something like that?
We have multiple channels. We have the public channels for the products, like TYPO3 Flow and TYPO3 Niels. We also have the TYPO3 core team channel, which is open, everybody can join, and everybody can read what we do there. If you start asking questions, even if team members start asking questions about Flow in general, like how am I going to do this, we just say like go to the other channel, because we would like to keep the noise low, and that's no issue. Sometimes we have people from the TYPO3 channel going to ask questions in the TYPO3 core team, and then it takes a little bit of time to get them out. But it's manageable. Yeah. No, but that's not an issue. It's pretty easy, and there are a lot of people also just reading what we do there. People from the contributors from the team mostly use an ISC bouncer, so they can also read back what is said there, so you can keep track of what happens. So it works pretty good. No, we have a server where people can just have an account, and this account stays in the channel and plays back in your client. Yeah. So it works pretty well. Any other questions about Flow?
Yes. To both people, I see TYPO3 CMS and TYPO3 Niels as both teams are innovative and productive. And is there any idea or any way or any channel to transfer knowledge between the teams? Did you communicate between the teams?
Yeah, the communication does happen actually. And the TYPO3 core team channel, there are also people from the CMS team there. There could be more. But there is discussion, for example, about XBase. Of course, there is some checks if, okay, are we going the right way, or because there's some changes. But and I think you and Robert also have meetings on a regular basis to meet up. So there's definitely communication. We also try to, for example, the active contributor meeting in before the developer days, we made sure that some people joined from the team. And so there's definitely communication and knowledge going from one to the other. True. Yeah, Helmut does a lot on the on the security stuff, and Patrick Bruns already joined for Code Sprint 1. So we already have people contributing to both products. Yeah. Anything more to add? I mean, communication between the teams, or?
Yeah. So what we plan? So we go to the slide of 2014. That is the topics in 2014. So it's the term transition. So in past transition was the XBase principles or the XBase chronicles. So what we were thinking about to actually have a possibility to use flow in TYPO3 CMS. So that does not mean to be a competitor to NEOS, of course not, but just having the possibility to work on the same great framework. So you can choose to build extensions as you have done that for quite some time in TYPO3 CMS, in 4.x and 6.x. And then you can choose to actually create packages and also have that running in TYPO3 CMS world. Of course, not everything is possible if it comes closer to NEOS, so it's just the flow framework, or remove the just, it is the flow framework that you can use inside TYPO3 CMS and can use packages. And of course, for that aim that we want to do in 2014. So currently it's only the package manager that is part of the TYPO3 CMS, to have the possibility to use the Composer framework inside TYPO3 CMS for all of your dependencies, and for integrating more into TYPO3 CMS and making use of the ideas that Flow has. It's not about backporting, it's actually directly using TYPO3 Flow. Of course, we need to talk, and we are talking about the concepts and how this can be improved, or a particular feature does not work on our side. And of course, as Rens has already mentioned, Helmut is one of the release managers, or release manager of TYPO3 6.0. Also was part at the code sprint at the German Internet Exchange in Frankfurt, so that actually happens, yeah.
Had somebody from the CMS team present.
The surf, is it only available for NEOS?
No.
It's also for 736?
You can do whatever you like with Flow. You can do Symfony with Flow. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can deploy everything. So, but I will explain some more about that tomorrow. Yeah. And I also think regarding the team and contributing to Surf, there's not really a defined Surf team yet. So that would be, I think, mostly within the Flow NEOS team currently. Okay, any more questions? You?
I have another one about contribution. Is there a way, if a contributor comes to CMS and you see this contributor have more technical knowledge and is better for TYPO3 NEOS, to hand it directly over, or what happened there?
Yeah, that would be the ideal use case, of course. So if somebody is approaching TYPO3 CMS and then we read a bug report or feature request or whatever, and then it happens that we get into contact onto mailing lists, or maybe with a direct chat on Skype or email or whatever, and then if it turns out that the concept is quite different to what TYPO3 CMS is built for, so if it's all about domain-driven design and all these nice paradigms, then of course it happens that we hand people over to TYPO3 Flow and NEOS, because we don't see the teams as competitors. So we are working in the same product family. It's the TYPO3 project actually, and a lot of concepts are similar. So TYPO3 Flow and NEOS have been built in, or had been kicked off in 2005 or 2006, and the road back then was quite clear to have a flexible or more flexible TYPO3 CMS in the end, and the only chance to get to that point was to rewrite it from scratch. And so the idea and the problems back then are the same, and also the goal, what to achieve, is the same. So we have the same history. So of course we are not competitors, and if we realize then somebody would do better in TYPO3 NEOS or TYPO3 Flow, then of course we hand that one over, because we are happy about any contribution that is put into the TYPO3 project. All right. So I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And of course, if you have more questions that you just cannot think about, or you need a beer first, then of course we are here during the conference days, and yeah, you're invited to get to us and ask questions or share your ideas at any time. Thank you.